has really made me stronger. The thing that I hear about trauma is people say it's a no way of escaping the sword! Whoever lives by the sword shall die by the sword. I, Zach Rundell, just got out of the crisis unit, and I've really had it in 3 parts. The first part was me going there, Watch Out I think 17, this, and the one I uploaded last night was Watch Out 18, and I described an event that happened on that people were gunning for me. And I have trauma with bullying, and I went over that in my last video a bit. And with me being out of the unit to this day, I do not want to say that it's a bad unit. I do not want to say that the staff are shitty. I do not want to give the crisis unit a bad rap, because my experience there can be totally different for a different person's experience. And also, with me not trying to give them a bad rap, it's helping me out with my trauma. I don't want to go into gory details, but when I was there, I went through a trauma response. And I went through some of the stuff. You know, a part of me, a younger Zach, the kid Zach died, and I really handled this thing maturely. But even though that I'm out, I still feel a stinging feeling of somewhat of what happened there. I trusted people, and they spat on my trust. They said mean things. And one of my greatest fears, trauma-wise, came true. And I know that I was constructed and I was built as like the enemy. Back in the day when I lived in the neighborhood, I was looked at as the great villain. And when I was a kid, I really wanted revenge on these people. I wanted to like, da. When I say da, I'm not saying die. No, but I would want them to feel what I felt. I would want them to feel the sword that they gave me. Boom, right? Right. And here, I felt something similar of where I really wanna, but just like any nut, actually, just like any nut, alright, it can grow to be a tree that bears, well, I don't want to say bears bad fruit, but it can grow to be a tree. I would say with any nut, it may have had a hard time growing up. Like for example, I may plant this nut here and all the big giant trees might be blocking it from the sun. But as it grows older, it has the ability to grow to the blue skies in the sunshine. And that's how I feel now with my trauma. One of the big things that I have found with trauma is that a lot of people who have experienced bullying, who've experienced traumatizing things like I have, I've noticed, I could speak for myself, I feel like I've missed out on some things in my life, some type of experiences. Growing up, I wasn't a part of the cool kid crowd, and I've noticed that I used to try to gravitate to that crowd. And the thing with it is, and I looked why being cool is so important in the world, alright? And the thing with this crisis unit, it was really like, it felt like I was back in high school, kind of that type of environment. But I wasn't trying to chase after the cool kids, I was just doing my own thing. And the thing with the notion, hi buddy, what up bud, how you doing? Well, I guess someone's coming down here. I love you, buddy. Buddy who's a ruddy, not to forget his hoodie. And with that being said, that the notion of cool, I believe, represents the three core instincts, okay? The coolest people have the greatest self-preservation. The coolest people have the greatest procreation range, and the coolest people have the greatest sense of connection. And that's not entirely true. I think cool is a human instinct, and it's a piece of human nature that distracts people from what's true and real in life. And I feel like I've really outgrown this notion of what's cool. Like for example, what's considered cool in this world is trying to seek revenge, trying to hurt the person who has hurt you, or me. And I really am finding in my life that if I do that, that will only keep me in the trauma that I have experienced. And I can't do that. I gotta grow. I gotta let go. Because I know for me, when people can say some mean things, sometimes I can take it personally. But I'm really becoming more understanding as time goes on. I'm becoming more letting go because everyone has their own shit. Right? I have my own shit and no one really knows that people know close to me that knows that I've gone through bullying. Even like, one of the things I could work on, even with my own friends. If they say something, I just don't take it personally. Right? But the other thing too with other people being, and I'm not saying this, I'm just saying this in general now, if people are jackasses or mean, well, I think, for one of the proudest moments I've had in that experience of the crisis is that I really stood up for myself. I advocated for myself, and that was very important. I vomited my thoughts, and there was a time where I let it go of the sword. But the people there, I noticed, especially from the moment I left, and I'm not talking about particular, but it was staff and patient. They were like this. They were really trying to go for me, okay? And I'm like, go for it, okay? And I had really the attitude is, I don't care how many you are. I'll go for it. I'll go for it. I'll really knock some heads around, all right? My sword is not just this sword here, but it's my tongue. Oh, shoot. But I think it also goes with maturity too, because I think being younger or being like a kid, kids being like a kid, it grows with maturity too, of letting go, and just, I think that's what made William Wallace in the movie Braveheart so noble, is because he wanted peace. He came back home to raise crops and God willing a family. If I could live in peace, I can. I will. And for me, that's really what I want, because I know I can be very ambitious. I can really go try to conquer out the world, and if I'm challenged, man, sometimes I could really just alright, you want a challenge? Like Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean. Any coward here challenge me, let him speak, huh? I can be very much like that, very quick to draw swords, right? But even with battles, I can even lose, so on and so forth. And I'm not afraid to be losing, because losing gives out learning lessons. Like, for example, this thing really gave me many learning lessons, and one of the things I associate with Scranton Council a lot, and I'm going to be around there, and it's fresh, and this gives me an opportunity to let go, so on and so forth. And the other thing, when I would talk about the crisis center, well, 2 years ago, it was totally different people, and I had a great experience. This experience was the worst experience I had. And I'm not saying this to bash it, but I'm saying this to gauge perspective of times change. Things change. People change. New things come. And one of my big goals in my life is, and this will keep me from not going back into my trauma. This will keep me not going from the pain. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot. But actually, I've been practicing it. I've been working on it. And it's been doing me real good. And, it will help me not take things personally. And it will help me with understanding. It will help me grow stronger. And it will help me just live a happier life. A more fulfilling life. And that is dropping the sword of revenge. Because I think the initial instinct of humans is when someone hurts me, or I'm going to speak on me, hurts me, my initial act is that I'm going to get these back. But when I stab the sword and just for example, just feeling that, all right, feeling the pleasure of giving another one pain. In fact, it's not pleasure, but what it is doing, it's warping me, and it's making me so it's like it's a double-edged sword, and I do not become better than the person who did the harm. Like Marcus Aurelius, who was a philosopher, and I consider myself a philosopher. Jacques Rondeau, the philosopher. And that's another thing, with me not seeking this lifestyle of being cool, or me not being even the notion of what cool is, it has given me a lot more experiences and a lot more fulfilling aspect. Like, for example, I talked with a person the other day, and she said she had an autistic daughter, and the thing with it is, she is sad for her because she's not gonna have like experiences like any others, but she loves watching Dora the Explorer in 30 languages, and I was thinking to myself that honestly, that's pretty damn cool. I absolutely love that. She, in fact, might do something really cool just with that notion, right? And I think another thing is what will help me move on from my trauma, or cope in my trauma, or even learn from to grow in different things, not comparing myself to others. So I want to put the sword of revenge, put the sword of malice. Oh yeah, Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher, said, and I really agree with him here, is that he said the best revenge is not becoming the one who afflicted the individual person. And I do agree with that notion. And I also do agree with the one who lives by the sword shall die by the sword, and I think that really means just life. If the person wants war, they're going to, all their lives, they're going to die by that. And I think some men think, oh, I gotta carry this sword around to be a man. I don't think that's being a man. And I think when I say that, I want to actually kind of correct myself there. And if some people think that, great. That is great. But I guess I don't want to talk down on those men or women. But I want to say for myself, that is not for me. I don't believe a person to be in that has to be like the greatest warrior on the planet. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I want to try to stay more focused here and grounded, and the stream's helping me out. And my point being is I really want to drop the sword, and I know sometimes that sword will slick into my hand someday or another, but I just have to put it back down again. But first this today, alright, is what happened to me. With me being told something I was not. Alright? In fact, I may have been told that I was the villain, the enemy. Okay? But I'm not the villain or the enemy. I'm Jacques Rondeau, and I'm a good-hearted person who loves the planet, who loves his friends, who loves his family, who loves life itself. And what would make me not really love life as much if I had this sword? So, and this is a different sword from the sword of standing up and advocating. Different one. I usually would use an axe for that. But this is the moment where I put the sword down for malice revenge. Taking things, I would say, personal. I got an understanding. And now, I will plant a new seed. Okay, a new seed of breaking away from trauma. A new seed of hope. A new seed of love. A new seed of Zach Rundell. So it may take root and growth to a flourish seed. Boom. Ugh. Now off to a new thing. And a new way of living.